Hey there, we're at episode 46. It's been quite a while since my last video. Been really busy lately. A lot of things been going on, and really just trying to focus on recovery and get that ball rolling again. I have had a really difficult time getting back on track due to the uh, long stay in the hospital, and then being the post care, and then going away to camp, and then moving directly after that, and then trying to adjust into new surroundings, and then constantly falling off the wagon, and because I was like just got in really, I got out of my routine, and everything came crumbling down, and it's been hard to pick myself back up, and I'm seeing a lot of progress now in recovery. I had to really re-examine everything in my life and make sure everything is working towards my ultimate goal. And certain things weren't. A lot of things were actually contradicting that. I thought um, if I even though I was spending uh, time with sober people, and like going out of town for the weekend, or going over someone's house and for X amount of time, or going to different events that were sober based, that would be enough. That would still be like the stuff I'm doing to stay clean. Turns out no. All it does is build. It brought out old character defects, brought out which rapidly brought out old behavior and old ways of thinking, and it very quickly came crumbling down. So I realized that I still have to do all the things that I was doing before, and be very careful in what I take on and what I do in the future. If I want to stay stable, I have to make sure that the formula stays pretty much the same in terms of certain elements that I need to stay clean. Um, Now, yet again, I'm exhausting every resource that is available to me to stay clean, to be clean, stay clean, and work towards a clean future. And it's still very difficult. Um, I'd say that it's a full time job trying to get on track and stay on track right now. I can't imagine trying to work and trying to do anything else in addition to this. This is just draining the amount of work you're putting into just staying clean, and working so I can have it work towards going back to school and having a future. I can't do those things until I maintain my clean time, and hold on to it for a bit. And if I can't even do that, it doesn't matter where I'm working, what I'm doing. I am gonna eventually just keep falling on my ass, and eventually until I overdose and die. So none of that stuff matters. Money and job, what it does not matter if you're not alive to need it. So this is number one priority. Some people don't have that luxury, unfortunately, but realistically, going into a rehabilitation center, um, I know the wait lists are long, but like moving with family members, do what you got to do to get there, because work is, you can't get clean, stay clean, and work a full time job all at the same time. Is almost impossible. There might be like 1% that can do it, but if you really think you're the 1%, we all think that. Um, so I took a huge step forward. Well, first of all, let's say I went to this meeting, and it was all about roadblocks in recovery. It was Westover Recovery Support meeting, and it was like they said, as long as you're taking, recovery is taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But as long as you're always making 2 steps forward, so that's the key. You're going to take steps back. It's just the way it's going to be. But as long as you keep progressing forward, it's all that matters, even if it is inching your way ever so slowly. And So I cleaned up my personal life in terms of friends and family and told them that I'm sorry, I love you guys. I like spending time with you, and but like I have to maintain my recovery has to come first. Meetings have to come first. Me being stable in emotionally and in my life, it has to come first because I'm pouring from an empty cup right now. I can't help anybody or be there for anybody or do anything for anybody because I'm empty. I'm not taking care of myself and my needs, and I can't help or do anything for anybody else until I do that. So that was a very harsh lesson for me to learn because yet again I take my will back. I think I can do all these things without the other things I'm doing, and I fuck things up. So learning process anyways. um so I it's a tangled web because here I have my addiction, my drugs and alcohol and all that, and here I have sex, which is involved in trauma, abuse, addiction, and what I had to do to trade myself for drugs at one point. All of this is intertwined with this into one giant ball, like a ball of tangled up Christmas lights, giant nightmare. I'm thinking that I can tackle this one without having to touch this one, and I don't have to touch this one for a long, long, long time. That's just not the way it's working out. Unfortunately, I had to stop lying to myself and being honest about that. Sexual addiction and trauma and abuse and all that is a huge part of what fuels my addiction. And I had a really hard time wanting to believe that because I walk a tightrope every single fucking day of my life, trying forever not to fall backwards and fall off. And there's not just one, there's two, there's three, there's four, there's 20,000 tightropes that I'm constantly jumping from at any given time. And all one false move and it all comes and I fall to my ass and everything, I could lose everything. And do you know, the amount of pressure that puts on me is immense. And sometimes it's so overwhelming that I just can't deal. And to have another one added in there is difficult, and not only because of the having to watch what I say or do with all of that, but I'm scared I'm never going to have a normal relationship again. I'm never going to have intimate relations with anybody again. I'm never going to be able to self-gratify again. I'm not going to be able to I'm going to be living a life I hate. That's what I'm scared of. I'm going to take everything I ever was and ever liked away from me, and who am I without those things? I honestly don't know who I am without the trauma, without the addiction, without the sex, without all of that. That's so how I see myself and seen myself for so long. Get off on people wanting me, even though I don't want them, but I need the validation and I need to be wanted and I need to feel good about myself because people have hurt me and destroyed my self-esteem and damaged me in so many ways that I think I still need these old ways of validation, but I don't. But it's still hard to accept that. I, for the longest time, seen myself as a victim. And I played the victim card, and I don't do that anymore because I don't really see myself as a victim anymore. I feel it was all a learning process, and I like who I'm turning into, and it's part of the growth of my destiny, and I'm okay with that. But old ways of thinking, old ways of viewing me and who I am in the world, and it's hard to let those go. They just became so embedded in my mind of this is who I am. This is what I have to offer. This is all I'm worth. This is all I'm going to ever be. And I just accepted that after a certain amount of time. And now that's not my story anymore. That part of my story is being left in the past, and I'm writing my way out of it, and I couldn't be happier, but at the same time, it's terrifying. I finally got referred to a sexual health counselor through Canadian Mental Health Association, my addiction counselor there. And I had to face the thing I spent 20 years trying to avoid. It's the sexual abuse part of my journey, and all the other crap around it. And I was terrified. I thought when this day come, I would never be able to handle it, and I built it up in my head to be this horrible thing it was going to be. And the week leading up to my appointment, after making the appointment and talking with her, I had the worst anxiety. I was paralyzed in my thoughts and my fear and my feelings an entire week up until the appointment, and I used heavily, more, I say about as much as I did when I was in the worst of my addiction, every day, every fucking day. I couldn't almost bear the pain that I was feeling and what was brought up, and I had a small emotional break down in her office, just talking about when I went to go set up the appointment, and realized how much this has really affected me and my life and my addiction, and how it's currently fueling a lot of my old behavior. So it was time. I couldn't move forward anymore without really addressing this. So I took the plunge and finally had my first appointment, and I feel so much better, and it was nowhere near as much as I built it up in my head it was going to be. It was good to start talking about it and letting things go and start to try to just move on and not live in that darkness and carry that pain anymore, because I don't want to. I really, really don't want to. So I've been able to stay clean since. I felt a calm and contentment and peace since that appointment, which is a good sign. My next appointment is in a couple weeks, and I'm just gonna keep going through it and go through the pain and leave it, feel it and process it, and just leave it in the past where it belongs. That's all I can do. I said I want to be excited about my future. I don't want to be torn up about my past anymore. It's just that. It's just the past. And even though that trauma stays with you to a point, I can minimize it to the point where I can finally live without it manifesting in the most horrible, horrific ways imaginable. And I have a shot at real happiness. A real living, a normal, what people deem as a normal life anyway. I know I'm never going to be perfect, and I'm always going to be very flawed. I'm human. But I am going to do my best to live the best life I can and be the best person I can, even when after I fuck up royally. It's more important than ever to get back up and dust myself off and keep going, keep trying. Eventually it will take. I also called Sexaholics Anonymous, and had a long talk with the person who runs that here. And he told me his story, and it was just like hearing my story, and blew my mind a little bit. I definitely don't feel alone in that darkness where I once did. I very thankful for that. I now have those meetings and stuff I can access and turn to whenever I need to. This is so extremely difficult to just be doing all this therapy all at once. It's a lot, but it's the only way I can move forward, and I really, more than anything, want to move forward because I deserve that. I deserve a happy life. I deserve good things. I have wonderful people, and in my life I have an amazing, immensely beautiful support system of multiple communities of people from my church and people from the fellowship and people from Camp Windiki and all my friends and family outside of that. And I have more love and support than I've ever had in my entire life. And now I can go through this pain and lean on that support and trust that it's there and know that I'm going to be okay. And if I'm not okay, then I have lots of people I can talk to, and that's going to love and support me and be there for me in my time of need. And they don't want anything from me other than to see me happy and succeed. And that's a beautiful fucking thing. I feel so grateful and so thankful to have all of this. I spent the last few months just focusing on what I don't have in my recovery. I don't have a sponsor. I don't have a home group. I'm not working the steps. I don't. And this whole time not being grateful for all the things I do have. I'm coming up on my 2-year mark in the program and in church, and honestly, I was living such a different life. Such a completely different, horrible life of fight or flight, and always on the verge of being homeless and sketched out of my mind, and psychosis making me crazy, and whoring it up and prostituting myself, not eating and not barely sleeping all the time. I'm not like that today. It's very different. I may have slips, but ultimately my life is completely turned around. And we just at the beginning. So that's fills my heart with hope and faith of what my future is going to be like if I keep going. I know I'm on the right path, so I'm just following my heart. I know right now that I can't trust my thoughts and my feelings in terms of a lot of things cognitive distortion will make me run back to addiction in different ways, and my feelings of a post-acute withdrawal and all that, and I had to be careful. And I really believe those things at the time. I do. I 100% with my soul believe that I need it, or I can't handle it, or this, that, or the other thing. And realistically, I can't trust those thoughts because it's just cognitive distortion. I'm just my brain finding a way to justify using. Always trying to do that. So I'm relying on my faith and my support system and my heart to guide me through the hardest of times right now. And I'm very content with that. You would have told me 2 years ago that I was going to be here right now saying these things, I'd say you're fucking nuts. I wouldn't have believed you in 1,000 years. I thought I was going to die out there. I was sure of it. So yeah, I'm fucking thankful I'm not what my perception of my life was going to be. It's pretty fucking amazing. God has been good to me. He's given me so much, and I pray for it, that I prayed for and I asked for. And I'm thankful for everything I've got. I'm scared to lose it. So I pray every day, and I'm thankful every day. I remember what it could have been, where I could have been right now, if not here. I know what the alternative was. Either on the street or in a box. Harsh reality. I'm neither of those things. So, as I move forward and walk through the fire of the worst imaginable moments of my life, I'm say anyone out there that's struggling right now watching this to keep going. Never give up. As long as you never give up, you'll get out of there eventually. And I'd rather go down swinging than just giving up. It's a coward's way out. So, I feel good about my future. I feel good about my life right now. I'm very content, and I'm happy, and send best wishes to all those struggling out there. And I hope that you can find your strength and use your heart to guide you. I think that's all I have for today. Thanks.